Welcome to Matinee Movie Serials. My name is Captain Styletto, and we are watching The King of the Rocket Men. I'm here to share some wonderful movie serials with you. These movie serials were first seen in the 1930s, the 1940s, and the 50s. The serial we will be watching was released in 1949. It is told in 12 chapters. Each week, before the theater would show their feature movie, there was always a chapter and an exciting cliffhanging serial. These serials have been long forgotten by most people, but I'm sure that your parents and grandparents watched them and couldn't wait until the next week to see if their hero or heroine would escape from the jaws of death. Each week we will be watching an exciting chapter in one of the most famous serial heroes, the Rocket Man. It seems that an evil genius of an unknown identity called himself Dr. Vulcan plots to conquer the world. By first, he needs to eliminate one by one the members of the Science Associates, the organization of the Earth's greatest scientists. After narrowly escaping an attempt on his life by Dr. Vulcan, one of the members of the Science Associates, Dr. Millard, outfits another member, Jeff King, with an atomic-powered flying suit. With the help of the suit, an acute magazine photographer named Glenna Thomas, and other inventions of Dr. Millard, Jeff King battles the minions of Dr. Vulcan for 12 suspenseful episodes. Eventually, Dr. Vulcan steals one of Dr. Millard's more dangerous inventions, the Decimator, and uses it to flood and destroy Manhattan Island before finally being brought to justice by Jeff King and his flying suit. This was really interesting because they used stock footage from the once thought-lost film Deluge. This serial, King of the Rocket Men, is notable for introducing the Rocket Man character, who reappeared under a variety of names in later serials. Commando Cody. Serials are sometimes confused with King of the Rocket Men, because the rocket-powered flying suit worn by the title character also became the wardrobe piece worn by Commando Cody. To add to the confusion, Larry Martin wore the same suit again in Zombies of the Stratosphere. Referring to these different Republic Pictures characters wearing this prop suit were called collectively the Rocket Man. Perhaps we will share some of these other Rocket Men serials as we move forward into time and space. However, the question that must be answered today, can our heroes, armed only with science and sex appeal, stop Dr. Vulcan from taking over the entire world? Well, I guess we'll find out together, right after these commercial messages. Welcome back to the Matinee Movie Serials and to this chapter of King of the Rocket Men. Chapter 1, Dr. Vulcan, Traitor. I'm your host, Captain Styletto. Now, let's get to Chapter 1 of our movie serial to see how it all works out.
Don't look surprised. That's your car, Professor Drake. It's been somewhat altered for a purpose. That won't help. Each door is automatically locked. Relax, Professor. I'll do the driving. Your car is under my direct control. You can't see me, but I can see you from my remote point. Wait, Professor Millard. You've been working too hard. Life isn't worth it. Your life. Remember poor Professor Drake and Kenyon and Bennett? The papers said their deaths were accidental. But you didn't believe that, did you? You've begun to suspect more than is good for you. Or for me. Now we shall see what the papers say about your death.
Nothing could be salvaged. Science Associates has had to start again from scratch. As you can see, Miss Thomas, we've set up a temporary laboratory here in the conference room.
But what could have caused the disaster?
An unavoidable accident. Unfortunately, no trace was found of Professor Millard, who was working in the building on a supersonic experimental test at the time. That is about all we can tell you.
Can or dare?
I've given you facts.
You also gave me the facts on Professor Drake's death. As publicity director for Science Associates, you've done a good press job, Mr. Winslow, but aren't these accidents occurring rather frequently?
This is a scientific experimental project. There is always an element of danger.
As well as sabotage?
Now you're being melodramatic.
No, realistic. If any outside source is suspected of being behind these misfortunes, Science Data magazine would appreciate having that information.
Spoken like a true reporter, Miss Thomas. The Science Associates is a too isolated and unpublicized project to attract sabotage.
And Jeff King ought to know. As our rocket propulsion expert, he'd be among the first to come in contact with any outside interference.
Well, perhaps some of your other members could give me additional information?
Information is something we discuss in private sessions, Miss Thomas. However, I can supply names of those comprising our group. That's Professor Bryant, formerly head of Technical Research University, specializes in metallurgy. Martin Conway, atomic expert and senior member of Science Associates. Dr. Grafner, aerodynamic wizard, and Gunther von Strum, authority on nuclear fission.
That's quite a collection of brains.
And now...
Thank you for the interview. Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, Miss Thomas.
I'll see you soon.
As soon as there are any new developments.
Thanks again, Mr. Winslow.
Goodbye, Miss Thomas.
The meeting is called to order, gentlemen. As you know, we must select someone to continue the late Professor Millard's experiments.
Why? In my opinion, Millard had become a visionary with fantastic ideas. Mad dreams of developing flying suits to change men into human rockets.
A victim of overwork.
Yes, it must have unbalanced him. His weird experiments cost him his life, and us our laboratory.
No, not so fast, gentlemen.
There is a possibility that Professor Millard knew something about Drake's death, but he wasn't satisfied with the theory of accident, and neither am I.
I agree. The day before that lab explosion, Professor Millard hinted that he was close to naming someone who calls himself Dr. Vulcan. Millard believed this person was guilty of stealing secrets from Science Associates and was responsible for Drake's death.
Are you suggesting that one of us is a murderer?
I'm merely repeating Professor Millard's words.
You seem to be better informed than the rest of us, Jeff. Suppose you investigate the matter for us, in a special capacity, in order to protect our persons and our interests. Agreed, gentlemen?
Yes. The new controlled rocket we'll soon be testing. It's part of our interest. Safeguarding that can be Jeff's first job.
All right, gentlemen, I accept. I'll arrange for the secret transportation of the guided missile to the testing grounds.
Well, if there's nothing more at the moment, I move that this session adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
This waiting around gets me jumpy. I'm going out and get some fresh air.
You'll stay put until we get our orders.
Acting a little scared of somebody we've never seen. Aren't you, Durkin?
I'm not scared. I just aim to please.
Yeah, aiming to please a voice. A voice behind a door, over a radio, or on the telephone. I'd like to see who I'm dealing with.
Maybe I have seen him. Right now, the important thing is to grab that pot of gold at the end of this rainbow.
Wonder what Dr. Vulcan's angle really is.
Those scientists out on the desert are working on newfangled flying missiles and trick jet planes. Certain foreign governments might pay plenty for that kind of stuff.
If Dr. Vulcan can get his hands on it.
Maybe that's why he's got us working for him. Durkin speaking.
I have a job for you. Do you know Professor Jeffrey King when you see him?
Sure. What about him?
He has convinced Science Associates that Millard and Drake, at least, did not die because of accidents.
You think he knows anything or just guessing?
That's what I must find out. If he has any evidence against us, it's probably hidden in the conference room. Tonight, I want you to go there and search.
Find anything?
Sure, a mess of books and a lot of scientific hoopla. Nothing we can use.
We ain't finished yet.
We better be in case King shows up.
Why worry about him? Those professor types are all brains and no brawn.
What are you doing here?
Just browsing.
Whatever you're browsing for, you apparently didn't find. Who sent you here?
That's our business.
Am I making it my business? Professor Millard.
Here I am, Jeff.
What's the idea?
Well, I heard someone coming, and I can't risk being discovered by uninvited guests.
Oh, I see. By the way, I found a couple of uninvited guests last night in the conference room.
Oh? Who were they?
I don't know. But I think they were two of Vulcan's little helpers. From now on, that project will be guarded.
So you've been singled out as Vulcan's next victim?
Not necessarily. Vulcan may have believed we had some evidence against him and sent the men to look for it.
I hope you're right. Jeff, I'm not going to stay here any longer. I'm sure I can unmask Dr. Vulcan if I go back to...
Now, wait a minute, Professor. We've been all over that before. Vulcan nearly succeeded in killing you in that laboratory explosion, remember?
Of course. It was only your quick thinking that saved me.
Well, next time we may not be so lucky. If you want to live, Professor, for the time being, you'll have to remain dead.
You're right. But there's so much work to do.
Yes, and all the time, space, and equipment with which to do it.
You're right. That reminds me. I've completed the rocket suit.
Good.
Well, what's so amusing?
I was thinking how astonished Professor Grafner will be when he sees this. You know, he was convinced you were insane to try to build an atomic-powered rocket suit. And I guess he thought I was even crazier for helping you.
Well, here it is. I hope it works.
We'll soon know. I'll take it with me and test it for you.
Well, stay close to the ground for the first few flights. There still may be a few adjustments to be made.
Right. By the way, the professor's elected me to move the new rocket to the proving grounds for testing.
Oh, well, be careful, Jeff. That's the kind of thing that Dr. Vulcan could sell to a foreign nation for a fortune.
Yes, if personal gain is the motive behind Vulcan. But we're not sure of that. In any event, I've had the demonstration model loaded aboard an unmarked truck. It's being kept under armed guard in a small warehouse in town. I feel sure Dr. Vulcan has no idea where it is.
I hope you're right.
I'll let you know about the tests. How's everything?
It's fine. Truck's ready and waiting for you.
Good.
We'll take care of him. Get that truck.
This is Jeff's car. Something must be wrong.
Yes. What's that?
What's that?
Hey, what's going on back there?
If that torpedo lands in any populated area, you'll be guilty of mass murder.
Whoa! There's a lot going on there! Mysterious deaths, plunging cars, exploding buildings, aerial torpedo, and the introduction of the flying suit. And how exciting to see how clever the Rocket Man is. He saves the city from a flying torpedo by using a ray gun, you know, almost like this one. But it seems that the blast from the torpedo has knocked our Rocket Man unconscious. Oh my. Now, this is going to be a great serial. Be sure to tune in again next week to watch part 2, Plunging Death. Right here on Matinee Movie Serials with me, your host, Captain Styletto. See you next time, and be sure to tell all your friends about us.